Hello, Nicole. Audience, we usually which we decided, we made the executive decision to not go to Anaheim because the timing is just bad and we're behind on work.
You hate video games.
And I hate video games. I hate nerds. Nerds. No, we really wanted to go. It's just bad timing with the move coming up. So we decided not to go, and instead we are at my buddy Scott's shop. I thought I would play it off as if we were in Denver and this is my new shop. And it's a great background, right? Got this nice brick. It looks like a New York shop somewhere.
I like what he did here too.
Yes, that's very nice.
I think we should do a shop tour.
We'll spin the camera around a little bit. So Scott's got a great shop. It's actually not that far from where we live here in Arizona. It's a converted RV garage that he uses as a shop space. It's a lot of Powermatic in here. It's all very familiar to me. Got a nice Rubo workbench here. Yeah, we'll do a little tour later. But let's get to business, yo. So we're going to do the best we can to do this like we always do. Nicole's here to sort of look at some of the questions that are coming in through the chat room, and we'll do our best.
Chat?
That is the chat. That's the YouTube chat.
I don't see it like that.
What do you mean?
Usually I have to go in. Do you expand that out? Never mind.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
It's weird. It's people are saying that they got the notification, but there's no stream, and I agree. I see the same thing here. You see that? Mm. It's showing that it is active.
There it goes.
Oh, you know what, guys? Okay, well, not that you can hear this, but you just refresh the window. Oh, that picture looks good. Scott, you got a great background here. Very nice. Then pop out the chat. So yeah, guys, if you're on YouTube or trying to use YouTube, just refresh it, and the picture will be there. So, coffee first.
I've already drank all mine.
Priorities. Well, there's one on the way home. We'll stop again.
I'll just drink the water. It's better for me.
So hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I can say with pretty good confidence that next week there will not be a live show because we're actually driving out on Thursday. Nicole will be there at the new house Friday night. No, we're driving out Friday.
You are driving.
Okay, so there definitely won't be a live show unless it's like me and my vehicle, which probably isn't a safe thing to do. So I won't be doing that. So we probably will not have a live show next week.
I mean, it feels like we've been talking about moving forever.
We have been.
And we're still doing moving sales because we said we're going to do moving sales until we move. So it just,
Look, we're going to be honest. We need money. Moving is expensive. Paying to move a shop is expensive. And, just getting the kids set up with the things that they need to do. You guys know how it is if you've ever moved. It is not cheap. So our way of sort of padding things a little bit to make this happen so I can have gas to get where we're going is to have sales. It's the only thing we can do is leverage our products. So we do have a really cool sale this week. It's actually a green and green sale. So all of our green and green projects, there are 3 of them. The green and green mirror frame, green and green blanket chest, and green and green Adirondack chair. All 3 of those are each on sale 40% off right now, Wood Whisperer Guild. So go check it out. You don't have to buy all 3. If you only, maybe you already have 1 and you want to buy the other 2, you can do that. They're completely separate. You can buy 1 or all 3. They're all 40% off. So go check it out.
I absolutely love our Adirondack chairs, and I'm looking forward to using them in Colorado.
They need to be refinished, though. I'll warn you ahead of time.
They're looking a little rough, but
it's one of my first jobs when I get there is to refinish those. So go check that out. Wood Whisperer Guild, thewoodwhispererguild.com.
And there's only 1 more sale left.
Yeah, 1 after that.
And that's.
It's probably going to be.
We're done.
I'll give a hint. It's probably going to be Cremona's sofa table.
Okay, that was pretty big.
That's a good hint. So I don't know if you could discern what I was talking about, but okay. So update on the heater. I talked last week about heating options in the new garage. If you want to sit, you can now. Yeah. You get your chair. You're just going to see her head down here.
I just sit over here.
Are you going to go off camera?
I'm going to go off camera.
Okay. It's nice having you though.
This is my fade. It's my fade button.
Oh, you're fading out. Okay, so the heating solution I was considering, and I was almost completely convinced last time that I was going to do the low-intensity infrared heating tube. Looked into it more, got some feedback, so thank you everyone. And this is what I love about this format is that I'm able to, say these things and then get feedback and people are like, no, that's a bad idea. So a couple people had said, while those are very effective, part of the problem is think about certain situations. Number 1, it's kind of a line of sight type of heat. So if you are working, let's say the tube is over there and I'm standing here and maybe I've got a table saw in front of me, if my bottom half of my body is not in contact with the infrared heat as it comes off of that tube, my bottom half may be cold, but my upper half is warm. So it is just like the sun. If your body is out of the sun in the shade, it feels very different than when you're in the sun. So think about being behind your table saw or just some other piece of equipment. Also, if you have tools, maybe tools that are in a tool case on the wall or something, and you go to pick up a hand plane, it's going to be freezing cold because it hasn't been in contact with those infrared rays, infrared
I don't know.
beams. What do you call infrared? It's a certain type of light. It's a wave. Yes? No.
I don't know.
I'm talking to Scott because I know he's got a science background here too, and I forgot more in the world of science than I remember, which is a real shame. Is it a combination of waves and I'm talking out of my butt here right now.
Move on.
Nicole, do not get impatient with me, young lady.
Move on.
Do not get impatient. Anyway,
Abort.
Abort mission, abort. It is waves. All right, I'm gonna commit there. So the thing is, people are like, no, look into forced air sort of, because you can get those electric or natural gas, and I believe we should be able to get a natural gas hookup. So I think Cremona has one of those units in his shop, like the Max Air ones that he seems to like. And while it does make a little bit of noise, this thing will heat the air. So, I'm kind of going back and forth, but the more I think about it, the more I think one of those, get the quietest model I can that's going to heat the garage fairly efficiently using natural gas as the fuel source. And that should probably be a fairly low-tech kind of install. The other thing is those infrared tubes really do, imagine having a big tube with this sort of background thing, the reflector that sits behind it, that takes up a good portion of your ceiling. It's substantial. And if I'm running dust collection and air cleaners and things like that, that could be a problem. Dust resting on the tube over time can be a problem. You've got to keep that nice and clean. And then ultimately, ceiling height can be a little bit of an issue. If it's not far enough away, that heat can be a little bit too intense. So you have to get a 2-stage unit, and you got to make sure that it is far enough away that it is just not uncomfortable. So I've been thinking a lot about it, as you could tell. I'm going to continue to research it. Thanks for your input. It's been invaluable because it's kind of helped me refine my search a little bit. And I think the forced air unit probably is going to be the way for me to go. And it sounds, honestly, it sounds like if you could have the ultimate setup in a situation that's really cold would be to have like both. If you could, something that's kind of quietly warming the air in the background while the infrared is kind of giving you that immediate relief, but that sounds overkill for what I'm doing. Okay, quick notification on a video release. We actually just released last night the Barrister Bookcase on the free site. It's the quick free site version of it, so if you're really interested in it, you can go to the Guild and actually get more detail into plans and 13 videos, I think, on that one. It was a great build. But I like to put those free site versions out there once in a while just so people can see how it went together. It's a fun little video, so go check that out if you missed it. And lastly, the Wood Talk Weekend Show just started. Did you listen to that, Nicole? It's fantastic. You should listen to it.
No.
She didn't. So we started the weekend show, which was a Patreon goal, and we quickly reached that and we have to start doing, I make that sound so negative. We are doing now a weekend show where we actually veer off topic sometimes. And we'll be on topic sometimes, but sometimes we'll be off topic. And this time we're talking about camcorders versus DSLRs, which is something that is a lot of people are interested in, because let's face it, I would say most of the people I come in contact with today are not only doing woodworking, they're doing content production as well. So people are asking those questions, and they ask us what we use all the time. So all three of us, Matt, Shannon, and myself, discuss the equipment we use, why we use it, and all three of us kind of came down in favor of camcorders over DSLRs. But it's a fun little conversation, so go check that out at woodtalkshow.com. Dennis reminds me that I need to fix my air compressor leak. That will be number one on my list of things to do. I don't know if the leak is in the fitting on the compressor or if it's in like the fitting at the end of the hose. I have to look into it. I just kind of ignored it. All right. That's all I have as far as like pre-defined things. If you have questions you want to relay to me, go for it.
Nobody's asking any questions. I'm on the Facebook page because
Well, I have the YouTube chat here, so I could watch that. Dad Rambles said, dude, you have done some major research. I wouldn't call it that. But there's an article I found on Handyman, American Handyman, some website that has the word handyman in it, that talks about specifically the forced air units and why it's the better option for a woodworking shop over the infrared tube. It's the exact opposite argument that I was going with before. But I was glad I read it though. Well, thanks, Chris. Chris says he loves the talk about video production gear. I know it's not for everybody, but there are so many people who are getting into the documentation. I'm stepping on Scott's tools over here. Getting into the documentation of their woodworking and the things that they're doing. So it is interesting to note why people are using the gear that they're using. I can see Scott's set up over here. He's got a nice prosumer camcorder, but he's supplementing that with DSLR, so it still has its place. But I think if you're doing like the YouTube thing and you're doing videos every week, good on you. If you go DSLR, I just feel like it's a lot of extra work.
Hey, do you have in your notes to talk about where we are with Woodworkers Fighting Cancer?
I do not.
Well, we need to make sure you do that.
Let's talk about where we are with Woodworkers Fighting Cancer.
Yes. So
I don't know where we are, so I'll let you do that.
I'll let you.
Here, I'll put the microphone close to you. Jerk of all trades loves Matt Cremona. Don't we all? Isn't Matt so lovable? He's like a little baby teddy bear.
Okay.
With little tiny hands.
So all of the Woodworkers Fighting Cancer auctions stop over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And
the auctions are all done.
Yeah, they're done. They ended on October 31st. But we are still accepting submissions for bookcase builds. So if you've built the bookcase, make sure you submit it to me because right now I only have one.
Yeah.
I'm guessing everybody's just waiting for.
That happens
right
every
now.
year, though. People do wait to the last minute. That's definitely a possibility. We also have to account for the fact that maybe in the future we need to make the projects even
I
simpler.
thought a bookcase would just be bookcase.
Well, a bookcase is a bookcase.
Well,
You are right about that. But I do think there is some merit to doing a simpler project.
All right.
We're not going to do ridiculously simple because we have to get companies on board to pledge money per project.
Right.
If we have 1,000 people do this thing, then we have people pledging like 25 cents a project.
Well, no.
I like to keep it at least $1 per.
Yeah.
So who knows? We'll see what happens. But the reality is with this move, we just haven't been able to push this thing and promote it as hard as we normally do.
But
so we're at fault.
You can still build.
Yep.
You can still. We still have like 40 of the collectible coins left. We have T-shirts, mugs. 100% of the proceeds for those go to the charity as well. So usually around the first week of December is when I cut off for the gear. And then we make a big donation from the TWW store into the charity.
Yeah.
But just to give you a tally.
Give us that tally.
Our goal is $20,000.
I thought it was 15.
It was, but I upped it because I made it because we're gonna hit 15.
You're setting us
Easy.
up for failure, aren't you?
No, I'm setting us up to
Success. The opposite of failure. Okay, I'm with you.
So our progress right now, because we're already to $13,376.
Hey-o!
So.
And when Scott sends us his $5,000, we're gonna be there, right?
Checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail.
And we usually have around anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 from the gear. So the coins and the
we
shirts.
have the
and
submission we have to make afterwards.
in December.
A lot of people saying they are building. Someone says there's got to be more than one. They saw them on the Facebook page, the Guild Facebook page. I don't think I've seen them on the Guild Facebook page.
No, I've only shared one.
Yeah.
Use the submit. So woodworkersfightingcancer.com, and there's a button that says submit yours, and
Submit yours.
that's how you do it.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for that
That's
update.
the update.
Jamie asked, what about the mini split? Is that out of the question? I'm undecided on the mini split because I've been told that may not be adequate to provide the heat that I need. But I've also been told that I'm going to want that thing installed just because of the air conditioning aspect of it. So I have to figure out a strategy here. Do I move in, get the electrical, and then just get the mini split installed and try it? And if it's not good enough, then add a supplemental heating solution. Or do I just go with the heating solution knowing that I need that anyway and worry about installing the mini split later? Or do I just go in and install both? So I'm going to have to lean on some professionals in the area to give me input on whether they think that Mitsubishi mini split is going to provide enough heat that I could use that as my primary solution for 1,000, just a little over 1,000 square feet. So we'll see. Still have some thinking to do. But yeah, the thing is, back to the woodworkers fighting cancer thing. It's, we've got a lot of irons in the fire, and it's not always clear what our tally is until those auctions come in and the donations start rolling in. So it's
People
still,
can donate directly, because the best.
yeah, we'll still do okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're almost at 15 grand. That's pretty damn okay
Yeah.
by my calculations.
That's great.
That's great. Someone is asking if I used Osmo Poly X. No, I haven't. I haven't used that.
I just have to share this with you. Andy Ramsey says, Nicole, you really do have the patience of a saint. Mark is like a small child.
What? Andy? How dare you? That is not true at all.
Well, true.
Whatever. It's just, this is just an act, and I'm not normally like this. Okay. Can you tell us something about your book? This is Christ School or Christ School, I'm not sure. Hybrid woodworking. I haven't ordered it because I'm not sure what you cover. Okay, hybrid woodworking basically is split into 3 sections. I cover tools, I cover techniques, and then at the end I show some projects that I've built in the past, not giving you plans for the projects, but showing you how I used hybrid techniques in those projects. So it's basically 3 sections. The idea behind the book was to show people how I do my woodworking, in fact, how a lot of people do their woodworking, where you start from a world of power tools. You start from a power tool perspective. And then you learn that there's these amazing things called hand tools. Scott's got a bunch of them under here. Look at this. I'm going to touch them. Ooh, Lee Nielsen too. Oh, look at this. All my stuff is packed up. I haven't touched woodworking tools in a while. A big old number 7. This is a great weapon in case anyone comes into your shop and they're not supposed to be there. So yeah, hand tools are just fantastic things, and they allow you to, look, power tools can be absolutely accurate and precise when things are dialed in, but part of what we do is sort of a romantic notion about the sort of mystique around hand tools is taking the tool to the wood, taking off a 1/1000 shaving at a time, really finessing things to perfection. And some people don't have time for that, some people do. I really love it, I think it's great. And I find that hand tools make me more accurate. So I'll get pretty close on a power tool. Let's say we're making a tenon, right? I'll make the tenon with a dado stack, but that dado, or the way the table saw works, a lot of times if you put a little bit more pressure one pass than you do on the next pass, there could be a slight variance in the final thickness of the tenon. So I almost always will make my tenons just a hair oversized. Then I could take them to the workbench, a couple passes with a plane on the tenon cheek on each side, and that thing just fits like a glove, right? So that's kind of the idea behind it. There's also some time savings that can occur when you go with this hybrid methodology. Think about how much time you might spend sanding a surface. You do a tabletop glue up, now you got to sand the whole thing down. You're going to go from 80 to 120 to 180 to 220. Well, if you have a couple of scrapers, you can skip all of those lower grits and just scrape the crap out of the top. Some people like that surface just off the scraper. I don't, but I'll go from the scraper to 220. And now I don't have to buy all that sandpaper. I don't have to spend all that time. So, there is some argument to be made that it's not just about, romanticizing the craft of woodworking. There's also some practical reasons to look in the hybrid methodology. So the book goes into the tools that I recommend, very specifically what tools to bring into your collection, and then how to use them to accomplish certain things. I even go into sharpening in the book. There's a lot of sidebars that go into various topics. It's a pretty beefy book. It's 192 pages, and the entire thing was written by me and photographed by me. A couple photos for, I think Shannon sent me a couple photos. A couple other people helped contribute. We're talking about my plans for Christmas.
Are you talking about
Hybrid woodworking.
Okay, yeah.
So, speaking of hybrid woodworking, I got a great video coming out on the Offcuts channel probably next week before we leave. The WIA, Woodworking in America, interviews that I conducted. We've got some really great interviews. We got Shannon Rogers, Matt Cremona, Nick Ferry, Jay Bates, April Wilkerson. Why did I stumble on that name? April Wilkerson, Aaron Marshall. I said Aaron Rodgers. That's a football player. I did not interview Aaron Rodgers. That could be interesting if he showed up at WIA. Who else? Diami Plaki, what's his name? DIY Tyler, and Mike from MF something Woodshop. So great bunch of interviews. Ask him some really fun little questions, and that video will be coming out soon. The reason I brought up hybrid woodworking was while I was interviewing Cremona, some dude just walks by in the background and I'm editing and I go, wait a minute, does that guy have a copy of my book in his hand? So of course I have to pause the footage and point that out over Cremona's head. So good stuff. And my book sold out, and Schwartz's book did not sell out.
Oh, stop it. They probably had like 20 times more of his book.
What? Whose side are you on? Look, there's no one who can compete with Schwartz in book writing and the amount of sales that guy probably makes in his book. It's just fun to point out evidence that might indicate.
They're like, we only have this much room left in the truck. Let's
bring 5 hybrid woodworking books and 5 cases of Schwartz's workbench book.
Yeah. I wanted to mention.
And Chris likes it when I do this anyway. He loves it.
So next week we're moving.
Mm-hmm.
If you or know of anyone that needs stuff from TWW store, like a copy of hybrid woodworking, because we only have, I think, 3 boxes left of hybrid woodworking before they're sold out. Your mom would appreciate us letting people know to get their orders in now.
Yeah, get your order in now.
Because we're going to be shutting the store down.
Yeah, that's at
for a little while.
twwstore.com. So if you want anything, get it now. We're going to have to shut down and reduce inventory on certain things for a while.
Yep.
With the move, so get in there now.
So stuff is going to be coming out of the store for a little
Yeah,
while.
I know. Simple Cove says the background looks awesome on camera. This is my buddy Scott's shop. Sonoran Woodshop is his channel. You want to check it out. He does turning. And what do you got, 2 videos up there now?
Yeah.
And he's going to have, I guess, this little ornament for Carl Jacobson's ornament contest.
Cute.
Look at this thing.
It's so cute.
So he's going to be doing that. You mind if we preview this? Nicole, this might be top secret confidential stuff here. Look at this. So he's going to show you how to turn this on the lathe.
It's adorable.
His videos are great. Scott came out of the gate swinging, man, because look at this background. And again, I'm teasing the shop tour. We'll give you a little spin around in his shop when we're done here. But yeah, really, really good shop. And the background is to die for. This is fantastic.
Jeff wants to know, will we be doing the coin again for next year's project? For I'm guessing for Woodworkers Fighting Cancer?
Well, the coins are now a thing,
I love
so
them.
Nicole, whether you want them or not, Nicole's doing them.
I only do a limited number too. So
I'm going to be
if
honest.
You're not into them, then
I'll be honest, I don't really get the coin thing.
I love the coin.
Nicole loves it, so, she's the
It's
boss.
fun. I like to collect things.
Yeah. Dan says, so glad I got to meet you at WIA. Hope I didn't bore you to death talking about Autodesk Fusion. So Dan sits down and he brings out this giant backpack. He pulls out of this giant backpack the biggest laptop I've ever seen. It's about the size of my monitor back here.
Do you remember when I used to travel and I had that massive, it was like a server.
Yeah, this is bigger than that one.
It was huge.
He pulled out a desktop computer that just happened to be flat. It was pretty insane. But he was showing me his Fusion software. All right, so you guys want to take a look at the shop? I got nothing else to talk about. Questions are slow. I don't see any questions
I see
immediately
the shop,
obvious.
but I'm guessing everybody else might want to see it too.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is not my shop, in case you're wondering. Scott, you mind if we pan around a little bit?
Go for it.
I don't have my wheels on my tripod here, so I don't have my normal mobility, but I'll give you a little tour. So he's got some really nice cabinets behind the workbench here. It's actually a very familiar setup with the Rubo and the bench behind it, which is kind of nice. Oh, look, there's Nicole.
Hi.
Let me loosen these things up. So this is a converted RV garage, and so it's very long, somewhat narrow, but very long and tall, as as typical of RV garages. He's got a nice wood rack set up there. Yeah, I've seen that one before. That looks familiar.
It does.
It looks like that design I stole from someone else. Oh, and what's the deal with the lift? Do you do car work in here?
It was in here when I bought the house, but I do plan on doing car work,
Nice.
so I kept it.
So you can see big old lift in the way. That just gets in the way of woodworking equipment as far as I'm concerned. Rip that thing out of there. Okay, so he's got a PM 2000 table saw, which you can't really see very well because it's behind the. Why is that wrapped around? Hold on. Behind the outfeed table there, and there's his lathe. He's got a really. I'll zoom in for you. A really sweet setup with the pipes there. for his camera and lighting system. You got is that a remote monitor for the DSLR? Sweet.
Bob Daniels said, with that brick background, you could do some stand-up comedy videos.
That's what it looks like. It looks like the improv type thing.
Yeah.
What is with airline food? All right, so is that a Laguna?
It's more like, what is with dust collection?
So, what's with dust collection? What's wrong with dust? There's the Sonoran Woodshop. I'm zooming in on your sticker. Very nice. Behind me, it's kind of tight quarters here, but I've got it's got a Grizzly jointer, 8-inch jointer, and a nice, it's a 15-inch Grizzly planer. And over here, Delta drill press, and a big old Dust Gorilla mounted 30 feet in the air. It's not really 30. How tall are your ceilings? 16?
12.
12 foot. I was close.
Just a little off.
I'm just throwing numbers out there because, you know. I'm really, it's out of focus. Really good at what I do here.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful shop. It's a very, very nice space.
What time did we start doing this?
I don't know. I don't know.
Matt Hardy says, whose shop is this?
What's with grape nuts? No grapes, no nuts.
That shop.
Okay. This is the Sonoran Woodshop. Sonoran Woodshop on YouTube. Go check it out. Or your website's up, right? SonoranWoodshop.com.
Yeah.
Scott's got some great turning videos. You definitely want to check those out. So what else? Anything else before we go?
This joke.
Which one?
The bottom.
Okay, this is from Aaron. He says, what is with marking gauges? Shouldn't they be called marking gauges if he uses them? Wait, I'll do it for me. Shouldn't it be called marking gauges if I use them? Mark with a C.
Yeah. It's more of a visual joke.
You got to see it. Yeah, it doesn't translate to the spoken word very well, but yeah, it's good.
Anything else we're missing?
Sebi Land says, great, hybrid woodworking, $21.99 plus $23.95 shipping.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, well, that's, we have no control over the shipping.
Sometimes Amazon is going to be your better deal, especially if you are overseas.
Yes, definitely, in
You just
cases
won't
like
get
that.
an
You won't get the
autograph.
autograph. What mic do I use? I've got a Sony lavalier mic. This bad boy. I don't know if you can see it. It's the one with the yellow. When you look it up for Sony lavalier mics, you'll see the one with the yellow band around it. That's the one I use. And I love it. So this is the last show we're going to do for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So if you got questions, get them in now because I'm kind of going to be MIA a little bit. We'll have content coming out, but I won't be doing live stuff. Oh, by the way, if you use Instagram, you should follow us on Instagram. I do a lot of the Instagram stories. So like behind the scenes stuff, quick videos. There's some family stuff there too. But a lot of the things we're doing with the move, I'm probably going to be doing those Instagram stories.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Snapchat. So they're there and then they're gone. But follow us on Instagram if you want to keep up
You
with
might
that.
want to tell them what your username is.
Wood Whisper.
Okay.
Oh, Wood Whisper on Instagram.
So don't maybe.
Ba 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 ba. Are you going to put I keep stepping on your crap under here. Sorry about that. Are you going to put the Rubo workbench on sale like last weekend's chest of drawers? Gary, you're a couple of weeks late, my friend.
More like a month.
A month. That's what we led off with because that was going to be our most popular one. So we didn't want to wait for it. So that's already been done. Sorry, dude. When flattening, I don't even know that I should preview this before asking it, but Dennis wants to know, when flattening the back of a chisel, how can you be sure you have all of the previous grit scratches removed before you move on to the next grit? I usually end up going back and forth. Well, if you're going back and forth, then you're not spending enough time there. I think the rule of thumb is when you think you're done, do more. And that's kind of the same way when you're sanding wood. When you think you're done with a particular grit, do some more. And then that usually ensures that you have what you need, at least for me. So every time I think I'm done, I just maybe do another 10 strokes and then move on to the next grit. Justin Brandt asks, what type of projects would you suggest for a new woodworker getting into it as a hobby? I always suggest you make something you're interested in, something you actually want. I can't tell you what that is. I could tell you to make a cutting board because it's a good basic project, but what if you don't need a cutting board? If you want the object you are creating, you are much more invested in it, and the mistakes you make during the build will mean more because your desire to get that finished product is there. So my suggestion is look around your world and your house and talk to your family and see what people want. What do you want? Try to make something you want. Even if it looks like it's a little more advanced, who cares? Go for it. The fact that you want that thing is going to make it a lot more of a good learning experience.
I will mention, so if you're a member of the guild, you can join our private Facebook group. And we just recently had someone submit the sculpted rocker. It was his first project he's ever done, and he did the sculpted rocker.
That's amazing.
But
It's like I always say, everything is just a series of steps. In that project, I give you the steps.
and he needed it. They're having a new baby.
Yeah.
They have a new baby,
That's
and
so
that's why he
awesome.
made it. So, and that was his first. So
Joshua wants to know about the Morris chair project going on sale. You missed that one too. That was like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
How soon till you get videos on the prep of the new shop? Matt Robin wants to know. Well, we're not even there yet. So at least a week. We're basically going to get there, and as soon as things start happening, I will be filming them and getting that content onto the Offcuts channel. But I don't know what the time frame is going to be because we got to get there and do stuff. There won't be much delay between the thing actually happening and then me getting the content
And we
posted.
also have to get the electrical.
Electrical is happening the first week we're there.
Yeah.
And then from that point, I've got to strategize because you're going to get the sub panel installed first. It would be a little bit risky to then have that same installer run a bunch of outlets because I don't know where anything needs to go. I don't know anything yet. I just want to make sure that sub panel is there,
Right.
ready to roll. I can run some electrical if I need to, but ultimately I'm probably going to have them install maybe 2 outlets near the panel so I have them, and then have someone come back out later on once I have kind of a master strategy of where I want things to go. And I know what I'm doing with the heating and the air conditioning and all that stuff. Finally found you. Oh, hey. We know that guy.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce that? Darth Marquis?
Yeah, Marquise. We know him from Nerdtacular.
I don't think you pronounce the S.
Mark.
Do you pronounce the S, Darth? Finally found you. Off-topic question. Have you found Colorado-based tattoo shop? Priorities, I've got a couple recommendations, but I haven't looked into them yet. Frankly, I'm going to be really mad at myself for not making at least 2 more appointments before we leave to get this thing finished up. I don't like the idea of going to someone else to finish a piece.
We're going to be coming back.
Yeah, but am I going to come back and be like, oh, let's get a tattoo?
Maybe.
Maybe I should squeeze something in next week. Let's see. Can't wait to see your new shop, Mark. And if you use my slick idea from last time, the recessed wall. Okay, let me address that real quick. So we brought that up in a live session, and I thought he was saying when you build a wall in front of a garage door, he said leave a space there. I thought it was just for like insulation purposes. His idea, which is very slick, is that you can actually, if you have about a foot there, you could use that to store things like shovels.
Oh.
Yard tools,
Oh, that's a great idea.
snow shovels, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of open a door and there it is, but it doesn't interfere with the shop. Here's my problem with that. If I'm putting these walls up, I want to completely seal that door in. And that means going over the door, locking it in to get the air seal, the weather seal that I'm looking for. So if I try to do what you're suggesting, I need to have room for the garage door to move, right? If I want access to it, unless I come up with some way for me to maneuver around the side. No, I want to completely close it in for a weather seal.
Oh, yeah.
So there won't be any way to access that. So I like the idea, but it won't work for me because it's not going to help me accomplish my goal of locking that space in.
The garage door would almost need to open, like
Right.
versus up.
He says Darth Marcus.
Darth Marcus.
Marcus. That's good to know. I'm going to forget that in about 5 seconds. I'll go back to Marquis. Okay. Oh, someone says, good question, Tony. Where's Tony's question? My jigsaw seems to deflect on the underside of the cut, leaving an angled cut. What could be causing this? Porter cable jigsaw and a new blade. Well, Tony, welcome to the suck of jigsaws. Jigsaws are just kind of terrible. Scott, when you use a jigsaw, do you, like if you're doing like a long cut or a thick cut, do you find that the blade just kind of deflects?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
it just happens. There has been one saw that I saw that made an improvement on that, and it's the Festool. Festool's jigsaw was the first jigsaw I used that had like 2 guide points for the blade. It provided more support, so it allowed the blade to stay a little bit straighter. They even did a demo one time where they cut out of like a big chunk of wood, a cube. And it actually was pretty darn square because there was no deflection. So I don't know if they're still that good or if like some of the other brands have gotten better, but I know, the nature of the jigsaw is that it tends to deflect like that. And sometimes, especially with wood grain kind of pushes you one way or the other. Or if you're not, let's say you're just kind of trying to skim material off the end of a cut, the pressure as you're pushing in naturally causes the blade to deflect. It's not the same as if you're cutting in the middle of material where the blade has equal support on both sides. But even then, as you start to twist and turn, the nature of that unsupported blade is that it's going to start to tilt on you. And that's why jigsaws suck. So, I mean, there's really not a great way around it. You use a very sharp blade, use the one with the least teeth per inch that you can get away with, because the more friction you have, I think that's going to contribute to some of that warping. If it's cutting efficiently, there's a more likelihood that it's going to stay straight and true. But that's really about it, and that's why you don't really rely on jigsaws for these really super precise things, because they just don't work that well.
Instead?
A bandsaw.
A bandsaw.
Yeah, I mean, if you're depending on what you're trying to do, the bandsaw is going to give you a nice straight cut.
So you took shop in middle school, right?
No.
When did you take shop at all?
No.
Really?
You didn't know? How do you not know this?
I don't know, because I took shop in middle school. It was one of the requirements.
Was it like the scene? Was it like the scene at the end of Superbad, where he's just drilling
I don't
holes?
know, I'm just drilling
What are you
holes.
doing, man? I don't know. I'm just drilling holes. Eff it.
No, it was funny. Okay, so the way that it worked in my school, you had 4 classes. It was 4, so you had each semester you had to rotate. So one semester or one quarter it would be home ec. The next one it would be shop, and then music, and then art.
Okay.
And you basically got to try them all out, because in 7th and 8th grade, you could pick the one you wanted to be in all year.
Yeah.
So I just remember in 6th grade, in shop class, everyone was at the scroll saw. And that damn blade would always like go wonk.
Yeah.
And it just was, and our
Scroll saw can be tricky.
it was a very tricky. And here's a crappy thing. So I grew up in the 80s, 90s. Our shop teacher's name was Mr. Thrasher,
Nice.
and he would not let the girls do the lathe.
Well, you can't trust girls around ladies. Everyone knows that.
Sexist. I think
That's
back,
crazy.
I think back, I'm like, man, that's really a dick thing to do to girls. Like,
Was it a-
if I'm interested in turning, just because I'm a girl, he would not let me
Well,
do it.
and let's be honest. I mean, if you look around the world of woodworking and you were to just sort of poll the audience and who does what, turning is an area that tends to have a lot of women.
It's a feel, an artistic.
It's the more feminine side of woodworking. Did you hear that, Scott? He says, oh.
So yeah, but I enjoyed shop. I made a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
And eventually, I didn't choose it for 7th grade, but I did choose it for 8th grade. So
Very nice. A couple questions that are coming in on the setup. Someone wants to know about the live stream setup. I'll show you that right before we close out. Hubbard's Handmade, when you're editing videos, how much do you worry about and fix color correction? Very rarely do I fix color correction. I white balance every shot. That usually gets me in the ballpark. But I do worry about exposure. So a lot of times, because in a shop you've got bright lights in various places, those tend to cause problems with the iris adjustment. So I shoot in manual. I get it as close as I can using the zebra patterns on my little window there. And then I just do some fine tuning with exposure when it's all said and done, highlights and the darker colors. And that usually results in a pretty good picture. And what you're seeing right now is as close as I can get just with the settings on the camera. So it should be pretty decent, but if I were filming this as a video, I might have to tweak it just a little bit.
And that's the benefit of a video camera as opposed to a DSLR.
There's a big benefit. Okay. Someone says, I've seen girls with long hair get caught in a metal lathe. Not good. Maybe that's why. Yeah, they're saying the long hair.
They have this amazing thing.
This amazing technology called rubber bands.
Yeah, it's called a ponytail. Or a bun. Or
Yeah.
a clip. Just gotta make sure it's on.
Hey, maybe he's just being extra safe.
Hey, my brother's in the chat room. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Jason. What's going on, dude? All right, let me just show the streaming setup real quick and we'll get out of here. So I use my regular video camera to do this. And I have an HDMI out coming out of my video camera. Trying not to get Nicole's beautiful head of hair. Wait, let's look at that.
No,
Ooh.
let's not.
Is it brown or is it blonde?
It's both.
Is it brown with highlights or blonde with lowlights?
Stop it.
What is your secret?
You're such a dick.
Hey, that's the second time you dropped the D word.
Oh, sorry.
This is a family show, Nicole. Okay, so the magic to it is the HDMI comes out of the camera, is both video and audio. Speaking of exposure. Video and audio from here, that goes into a Blackmagic little box here that basically converts the signal to Thunderbolt. That's Thunderbolt. I always get their Lightning, Thunderbolt, and all that crap confused, but it's a Thunderbolt going into a Mac Pro, one of the new Mac Pros. I hate the fact that I bought this, but it works. It worked with the gear I had, so I had to get this. And that goes into this guy, and this basically is, just connected to, let's see, Wirecast.
You remember?
Crumbling under the pressure of the stream. And I use Wirecast. And Wirecast allows me to simultaneously send out a signal to both YouTube and Facebook until they clamp down on that, if they do at some point, because it might happen. And that's pretty much how it's done. Right? That's our setup. What I don't like about it is that it feels like a technology that Apple is not really behind anymore. It's been out for 3 years. They're moving further and further away from like a truly pro